walang vision. I'll give you the best example pala from my own experience. You know, each time I take the flight New York to London, I leave New York at 7 o'clock in the evening on British Airways. Darating akong London, doon na. Nagbubukas na ng umaga, mga 5 a.m. Do you know, doon ako sa may window, you know, yung airways, yung aeroplano ko, na kahit ano naman aeroplano, it did not be airways. Ano? Pag ganyan mo, you are racing with the sun. Bukang liwayway na sa taas, sikat na yung araw. Nakikikarera ka, kasi yung araw hindi pa nakikita sa baba. Sa baba, madilim pa. It's dawn breaking. Pero sa taas, from my point of view, the sun is shining. And my airplane races with the sun. Nakikipagkarera. Yun ang gusto sabihin, a vision. Na hindi pa nakikita sa baba. Because you are on top of the mountains. It is not, yun ang vision. Alam mo, hindi nila alam. You have a vision of it. And that is what you want to impart to the people. May nakita ka. That's why you are the leader. Nakita mo. And you want that to be imparted to the people. It is not a narrow vision, but it is a broad vision na nakikita mo at the horizon, and it sustains you kahit walang-wala na. Bakit yung mga taga-Leyte, kanta pa ng kanta, dumating na singing group, feature sa TV, wala na raw silang makuha sa Leyte, so kumakanta kami ngayon, kumakanta kami. I'm surprised hindi si Mrs. Marcos na kumakanta ron. Dahil, di ba siya yung Rose of Tacloban? Di ba siya yan? Well, na-hospital daw siya noon. Well, anyway, naroon pa rin siya. Kumakanta, in-interview, masaya pa kayo, no? Masaya. Kasi naman, sir, talaga naman nabubuhay kami sa awit. At saka, talagang umaawit kami. Meron silang vision. And I hope the reconstruction will take place. I think the government does its best. Madali mangantsaw Merong isang bumisita ron kahapon, kantsaw ng kantsaw. Bakit ganito itong mga bank houses? Bakit ganito? Talagang madaling magkantsaw, no? But you think of an emergency at saka ibabahay mo thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Siguro it is easy to pick nit, no? Yung maghanap lang ng diferensya. It is easier to extend a helping hand. Di ba? Madali maging critic doon. Ito, ba't ganito ng mga bahay, ba't ganito. At saka nipis-nipis ng wall, at saka ganito. Sila, ginawa ba niya yun when it is needed? It is so easy to criticize. Ikaw, anong gagawin mo? No? Extending a helping hand. This is part of government and administration. We must not be so narrow-minded. The eternal trait of man is the need for vision. Totoo yun. And the readiness to follow it. And if men are not given the right vision, they become wandering fires. Wandering fires. Wonder na lang. Bakit nagwa-wonder? Yung ship. Because it does not see a harbor, no? Hindi ba yung ship, ganun lang floating with the wind, floating with the tide, ganun lang. Kasi wala siyang makitang coastline, wala siyang makitang harbor. That is it Pinanood nyo ba yung Lipo, yung The Story of the Tiger? Ang ganda ng movie yun. No? Even the tiger could recognize there is a border. Tandaan nyo? And then, nung tinatawag niya na yung tiger, naroon pa siya sa kanyang bangka, tumingin lang yung tiger sa kanyang ganyan. And then it went on and followed the light, the border. Iba talaga After a long, long, long travel in the sea, and then you see a border, a little island. That is division. That is what we do not have. It is an insight of a life's experience. Ano? Nakita mo lamang a little insight of an entire life. I have proposed my own vision. Or, Filipinas para los Filipinos. Paborito ko rin yan. The Philippines is for the Filipinos. O, sasabihin nila, communistic yan. Sasabihin nila, anti-American yan. Hindi. Why should it be anti-American to say, the Philippines, Filipinas para los Filipinos. The Philippines is for the Filipinos. When they say, America is for the Americans, is that anti-American? No. Yan tayo, hindi ganun eh. We must really fight for what is our own. What is our legacy? This is our country. Sabi nga ni Apolinario Mabini, the only country God had given you. Sabi ni Apolinario Mabini, el único paraíso, the only paradise. Yun ang sabi niya, el único paraíso, the only paradise God had given you. Kahit ng, I think I should really end now. Sa UNESCO, pag hindi ka pa nagtatapos, you hear violins, parang orchestral music. You should get the point, no? Si Blas Ople, hindi narinig yan, no? Until he heard cymbals, no? And drums rolling. The great Blas Ople got the message. Professor, I got and understood your message. Thank you for your patience.
Should we proceed to the open forum? Open forum na. Or will you do the discussion? Open forum.
Do not limit the forum.
Yeah. You have the discussion. All right. Okay. Yeah. Could we give another round of applause for Professor Jose David Lapuz? Back in our university days, we used to call this the Jose David Lapuz experience, and we are very lucky to have him again in this position. Before we proceed to the open forum, we will have a very short and brief discussion and interpretation from fellow colleagues in the department. Our first discussant is the chair of the Department of Political Science of the College of Public Governance and Public Policy, University of Makati, Professor Arturo B. Maribilla, to be followed by the chief researcher of the University of Makati, Professor Andrew Lumungkal. Professor Maribilla, you have the floor.
Hello. Okay. Thank you very much. I will only be very, very brief. I would like to tell the audience that Professor Jose David Lapuz was my professor in the mid-80s. Sila Professor Tapia, si Dean Tapia, and the rest, Professor David Lapuz in the late 90s. Okay? When I was listening to him, parang katulad lang din nung araw, the first time I was under him, I was mesmerized. And he was mesmerizing then as he is today. And for reason you already, well, as the Romans would put it, res ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself. The very reason why it is nice to be a part of the community of thinking individuals called universities because of people like Professor Jose David Lapuz. How lucky we are indeed to have him today. He is a towering genius. He is a, without doubt, an intellectual giant. And he stands the colossus among the intellectual giants of his time and our time. Thank you very much, Professor Jose David Lapuz, for accepting our invitation the third time. How I wish I could waive my time for the audience to ask the question, but anyway, I will just be brief, Professor. Ano lang man, maikling tanong na lang, Professor. Sino sa mga administrasyon ng Pilipinas ang masasabi mo, Professor, na nagkaroon ng vision at naging successful sa anggulong ito, nagkaroon ng vision?
Ako, I would say, Manuel Luis Quezon. Mula nung naupo na siyang Pangulo at saka Presidente ng Senado, uppermost ang vision niya ng independent Philippines. Kaya yung kanilang partido, Partido Nacionalista, sina Sergio Osmeña Sr., Rafael Palma, at saka si Manuel Luis Quezon, tinatag nila ang Partido Nacionalista. At ang vision nila was independencia absoluta y completa. Yun ang crying slogan ng Partido Nacionalista. Independencia absoluta y completa. Absolute and complete. Of course, hindi naman absolute na nakuha or complete. Ganun ang vision Pirming perfect. Maraming mali rin si Manuel Luis Quezon. Marami. Nagkaroon din ng corruption sa PNB, sa Philippine National Bank, na nilalabas ni Dean Worcester. Kaya nakaaway niya si Dean Worcester. Pero when you judge the mistakes against yung kanyang philosophy, talagang matatag siya ron. Hanggang namatay siya. Hanggang namatay siya sa Lake Saranac. Sa Lake Saranac, sa New York yon. Bago siya mamatay, o matagal bago siya mamatay, hindi niya kay Douglas MacArthur, can I talk to President Roosevelt? Kasi napapansin niya, hindi siya pinapansin ni MacArthur, hindi nasusunod yung gusto niya, binara ni MacArthur ang meeting because he wanted to talk to the president and said, kung ganito rin ang gagawin ninyo sa Pilipinas, ipagpapaliban ng independensya, at saka kailangan na namin yan, at saka nasasangkot kami sa giyera nyo only because meron kayong mga base militar sa aming bansa, sa amin ang theater of war, the arena of war na sa amin. I would rather be neutral. Alam ni MacArthur, yun ang sasabihin niya kay President Roosevelt. Binlock niya. He never met President Roosevelt until he died. Hang ako kay Quezon, from what I read of his great biography, hindi, at saka alam mo, nung nasa Lake Saranac na siya, ubo dahil nagkaroon siya ng tuberculosis before Fleming, the British scientist, discovered penicillin, nagkaroon siya ng tuberculosis, so walang lunas sa tuberculosis. And the great Manuel Luis Quezon, paggabi, nagsusulat siya doon sa papel na hinihingi niya, sinasabi niya, let us stand on our own feet. Let us think for ourselves. We alone can take care of ourselves. Merong vision si Manuel Luis Quezon. He belongs to the great presidents in our... Marami rin tayong great president, but compared with, lalo na when he ruled, when he became president, he was under the United States because it was the USA that exercised political power. But Manuel Luis Quezon, binibako kay Quezon, alam niyo ginawa kay MacArthur, pinromote niya to a position na mataas nga, pero he saw to it, it is under his office of the presidency. Hindi alam ni Douglas MacArthur na ibaba ni Quezon ang position niya answerable to him. Although the great MacArthur continued to stay in that beautiful suite niya sa Manila Hotel. He was running the show from Manila Hotel. That is an example of a great president with a vision of what his country ought to be. And you know, the Quezon, the Osmeñas, the great presidents, including Quirino, they have gone. Para yung mga lions para yung mga eagles, ano? The eagles have fled, wala na. And usually once the eagles have flown away, who takes over? The vultures. The vultures have taken over because the lions and the eagles have gone. So these lower animals, parang ganyan nangyari sa ating, I will not mention it, parang ganyan nangyayari. Tingnan nyo na lamang. Noon, of course, parang I'm really old, ano? When we speak of the Senate, we spoke of the Senatus Consultum, no? Kaya tawag sa kanila Senate, that's from the Roman law. That's from the Roman Republic, Senatus Consultum. Kaya galit sila kay Caesar. Caesar did not consult the Senate. Kaya they called Caesar a dictator. Tama yung play ni Shakespeare. Kaya nagkaganon si Caesar. So you see, when you speak of the Senate noon, kung kailan lang, you spoke of such men as, kita mo Claro M. Recto, Jose Laurel Sr., Jose Laurel Jr., yung mga ganon. Mga Don Quintin Paredes, Senator Roy, Senator Rojas, yung tatay ni Juan. Mga ganon, talagang they were the pinnacles, they were the idols in intelligence, in leadership, in education, as gentlemen in politics. Ngayon, nawala na yan. Nawala na. When I look at the Senate and I watch them deliberate, patapos, pag pinakita sa CNN, paano ang the British House of Parliament will deliberate or the Senate of the USA. O yung yung House of Representatives ng Hawaii na nagbigay sa akin ng undeserved honor na yan when it was given to me. And then coming from the House of Representatives of the state of Hawaii, of the state Congress, not the Federal Congress, the state Congress of Hawaii, talagang you're dealing with renowned public congresses. Ngayon hindi. No? The language that is used. May mga exceptions. Maraming exceptions, I don't speak for the whole of them. Ako hinahanap ko yan kasi estudyante na ako sa UP, uma-attend ako ng deliberation sa Padre Burgos ng Senado nung pinag-awain nila yung Rizal Law, yung Rizal Bill, pinaabangan ko yan. Mga debates ni na Recto, ni na Primicias, talagang how educational. Hindi ako pumapasok sa UP. Sabi ni Mrs. Roque, absent ka, Lapuz. Yes, ma'am. Where did you go? Ma'am, I attended the session of the Senate because they were discussing the Rizal Law. Okay. Hindi naman siya nagalit. Binigyan niya nga ako ng 1. Lumalabas ang kayabangan natin. Pero totoo, nung estudyante ko, sabi nung isang professor ko, alam mo, iniingi mo yung grades, dahil ibigay ng grades mo, dahil hindi ako nahirapan sa grades mo. Bigyan mo nga ako ng ruler, kanya. Then ruler, nagtawag na siya sa ruler. Puro tuwid. Ganon, puro 1. Hindi naman. Pero, minsan bumabaluktot, nagiging 0.5. Pinupunta ko yung teacher. Ma'am, bakit naging 0.2? Ako rin naging 0.5. Ang sabi sa akin, I will not mention the name. Professor, you deserve a 1. Pero meron akong policy, I limit the ones. Ako, nag-graduate, summa cum laude. A great professor of mine. Talagang great naman yon. Nagalit ako kasi hindi ko nakuha yung gusto ko. Not because she graded me incorrectly. Tama yung grade niya. Pero sabi ko, dapat 1.2, ba't di pa ginawang 1, 1, 1, 1, 1? No, ha? No? 1, 1, 1, summa cum laude. Ngayon, I have a different attitude. No teacher ako. When a student of mine is a candidate for cum laude, sabi ko, sino lahat ito ang cum laude? Ito, 3, 4. Welcome to the club. Kako. I do not deny them the privilege. Ay, bababa ko yan, baka mag-cum laude. I love it when they graduate cum laude. Well, You know, I feel so lonely in this club. Welcome. Talaga. You know, if you're a cum laude from UP, that is a very lonely club. Very lonely ako riyan. Ay, ang yabang ko. Ang dami naman cum laude sa UP. But the point is, pag ang estudyante ko is a candidate for honors, ang saya ko. Bakit ako masaya? I produced her. In fact, sabi ko, cum laude ka, may I remind you, before you graduate, there is nothing in that head that I did not put there. Sir, hindi naman, kanya. Marami rin sa ulo ko hindi nanggaling sa inyo. But most of it came from me. Hindi, nagbibiro lang ako. Hindi naman totoo yun. Lahat ng nasa ulo niya nanggaling sa akin. Kung totoo yan, di sana nabawasan ng Bobos Filipinos. Di ba sabi ko, tumarami nga? Well, anyway, in answer to your question, hinahanap ko yon, no? Hindi sa matanda na ako, hinahanap ko si Laurel. Hindi. Namatay na si Laurel, namatay na si Recto, namatay. Hindi ko na hinahanap yan. Matagal ko na alam, Rizal is dead. Matagal ko na alam, Quezon is dead. But I'm still around. You know, I mean, ang gusto ko sabihin, may mga presidente tayo nagkaroon ng vision. You know, si Marcos, in a way, meron siyang vision. Except yung vision niya naging duling eh. Naduling. Nung sinabi niyang, this nation can be great again. Maganda yun ah. The Filipinos can be great again. Ang ganda nun ah. Kaya lang naging duling, ano? Naduling kasi, kaya magtatatag ako ng bagong lipunan. Yung bagong lipunan naging bagoong lipunan, no? Iba naman yung bagong lipunan sa bagoong lipunan at sa naging the government of the few, no? The aristocratic few. Di ba nung election sa Metro Manila, all of the candidates ng KBL nanalo? 21, ano? 20 nanalo lahat. Natalo si Ninoy, di ba? Natalo si Ninoy. Nanalo lahat sila. If only they interpreted history correctly. Now, sinong buhay na buhay sa consciousness ng mga tao ngayon? Si Ninoy. Talaga, hindi siya naging presidente. Pero yung asawa niya, dahil asawa niya, naging presidente. Itong isa, naging presidente rin. Kasi yung tatay niya, yung nanay niya, naging presidente. Anong tawag dyan? Tatay niya, naging presidente, hindi naging presidente. Tama, dynasty. Ang hirap sa dynasty, ay kinaawa yan ni Apolinario Mabini. We must strive for a republic. Kasi a republic is for all of us. Kung few lamang ang makikinabang, it is the aristocracy of the few. That is what dynasty is. Can you believe this? Sa Senado, magkapatid, ganito, ganyan, dalawa sila, doon sila, then meron pa sa lower house, then meron pa sa City Hall, then meron sa lahat. Alam mo, we are 100 millions na. Do you know that? We are 100 million Filipinos. Do not believe the statistics. Lalo na hindi nila makita ang aking certificate, birth certificate. How can I believe that when they cannot even find my birth certificate? 100 millions na tayo. Hindi ito 90, no? Sa 100 billions, wala na tayong makuha. Tingnan mo yung Quezon City namin. Ang daming brilliant ones sa Quezon City. Walang nag-run opposing the mayor. Is this democracy? Yan bang democracy? Wala na makakalaban doon. Kasi pagkakalabanin yon, baka bilhin yon o i-persuade. Huwag kang lalaban. Isa na lamang. Is that choice? Parang sa palengke. Namalengke lang akong kailan. Pag nilabas niya lahat yung mga bulok na mangga, ayan. Hindi! Labas mo yun doon. Doon ako mamimili. Doon. Hindi ho. Hindi, labas mo. Diyan ako mamimili. Kasi ito yung nilalabas niya, yung mga bulok sa harapan. May tinatago pa siya. there are many talented Filipinos. Why are they not running? One, natatakot na. Two, dadayain din sila. Three, wala silang pera. Four, punta na lang ako sa Middle East. Punta na lang ako sa ganon eh. Ganon, parang the government has become alien, ano ha? Bakit kaya ganon? Parang attitude nila, silang nasa gobyerno. Bakit ganon? Tayo yan eh. Government emanated from us. We are the government. It is of the people, by the people, for the people. Ang nangyari ngayon, yung of the people naging of the people. Yung by the people naging by the people. And for the people, fool the people. Ganun nangyari. Ibang-iba sa equation ni Abraham Lincoln. I cannot accept that. 100 million brilliant Filipinos. Bakit alam kong brilliant ang Filipino? Why is it, pag nasa ibang bansa na sila, they excel. They excel sa kasipagan, ang sisipag nila. They excel in the sense of industry. They are so innovative. There must be a climate there that stimulates their geniuses, that stimulates their talent. There must be a climate here that kills their talent, that kills their initiative. Pilipinas. Yun ang gusto ko sabihin.
Okay, Professor Lapuz. Thank you. Time flies and our lunch might fly. Okay, so thank you and good morning. You know, when I always hear Professor Lapuz lectures, it's like a God descending from Mount Olympus, and I feel a seraphim, a half-blood, God-like Perseus. That is how I recognize and my honor and pleasure to be with Professor Lapuz today. So very short point to give way to the open forum. So Professor Lapuz mentioned the vision, to create a vision that elucidates the vision and resolutely accomplishes the vision. And we have vision in the administration now and in the administration then, tuwid na daan of our President Benigno Simeon Aquino. It should be tested in the mantle of public interest, whether this vision must be attained, and that will be the test of his public administration. He mentioned that there is a fundamental tension between public administration and private administration, wherein the culture context of us Filipino comes in, and we cannot even distinguish the two when our emotions and our passion because of our culture enters. And he mentioned also that this leadership must come from a moral philosophy that is ethical, selfless. There must be integrity, and this sometimes it involves our culture context of being hospitable to others, and it might connect to influence our public decisions, that it might interfere in our accountability and transparency and openness. As he mentioned, that public office is indeed a public trust. And of course, he mentioned that until this vision of President Pinoy will not control the uncontrolled funds and the unregulated funds, as I infer from his lecture, that his tuwid na daan, though there is the general fund that is open to public and the congressional oversight, until these uncontrolled funds, that they cannot even distinguish if it is a beef or a pork, then this vision of the present administration will remain a vision in the air when he is flying British Airways and not yet coming in the London, in the Tower of London. Thank you very much, Professor Lapuz.
Thank you very much, Professor Mungkal. Could you now proceed for an open forum? Unfortunately, Because of our time constraint and the spoiling ability of our lunch, we must reduce the open forum to just one question. If you have any inquiry, we could have the two questions given, and we will have Professor Lapuz respond to it. Hopefully, within a given time limit, Professor Lapuz, as a reminder, the floor is now open for the open forum. We'll have two questions, then we proceed quickly with the answer. Very briefly first. Yes, the floor is open. Just short question. Yes, sir. Then the one at the back. That will be it. Any question for Professor Lapuz after lunch, we could discuss it with him. Sige, sir, please.
From what province? Bigay mo naman sa akin. Okay, welcome.
That's our first question. Second question, what will be the vision of Professor Lapuz if he becomes the president? Second question is, yes, sir, please. Please introduce yourself. Don't be recognized.
Pangasinan. Madalas ako dyan when I go to Baguio.
Please.
Yung pinakbit sa Pangasinan is, wow, one of the marvels.
Please proceed with the question before we get to the bangus.
One of the marvels talaga. Ang pinakbit sa Pangasinan. Okay.
Yes, sir, please. Okay, thank you. To recap, sir, we may respond, sir.
Well, yung privatization, that is really part of what is happening all over the world, you know? Magkakasama yan eh. Because what you call democracy is really tao yan eh, hindi state, no? When you say privatization, it is the people in their private capacity can run it much better than a government bureaucracy. Ganyan ang Inglaterra, di ba? Although they had nabawasan ng mga privatized, pero privatization, like globalization, patuloy yan sa mundo. Sa atin, to start with, totoo ka, what do we privatize? I mean, although sinasabi nila, we are prospering now, the Filipinos should be spending more. Kahit naman sa ang economy, people are encouraged to buy and to buy. And the nation is encouraged to produce, mga factories to produce. We have to produce, and then we have to buy, and then we have to produce, we have to buy, so that the economy can go on. Ang nangyayari sa atin, the activities we have are not that productive. Kasi mahilig tayo, halimbawa, I do not look down on hotels and restaurant. Pero that is not as productive as what a factory will produce, no? Yung halimbawa, ang vision ng tao, maging artista, there is nothing productive there. We have to produce. And that is why, in our education, we have to emphasize yung chemistry and biology and engineering and science and technology and technocraft. Kasi we have to produce with our hands. Kailangan natin yon. And then, as we increase production, when production is increased, ang salary mo is meaningful. You have something to buy because greater productivity, baka tataas ang salary mo, greater salary will be greater spending. We have to spend. But we save a portion of it, we call savings. And then from the savings, we invest. But because we do not have that, we rely now on foreign investments. Ang hirap naman sa foreign investments, they are this turnstile. Alam niyo yung pintuang turnstile na papasok pero lumalabas kagad. Pwede kang pumasok, pwedeng lumabas. Pwedeng pumasok, pwedeng lumabas. Most of the investments are of that nature. No? Kaya ako'y natatakot, if they try to amend the Constitution, they will make it more favorable sa mga corporations that are foreign corporations. For example, have you started to analyze lahat ng pupunta rito, di ganyan, awit, kanta, concerts and all, and they charge mahala, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, at mabili yan, wala ka nang mabili sa ticket. Do you know all of that? Under the present laws, they can be repatriated. Sa kanila yun eh. Magbabayad sila ng taxes. It is true. Pero it goes away. Ang gusto kong sabihin, ang capital, pumapasok pero lumalabas kagad, pasok, labas kagad, pasok, labas kagad. Ganyan din ang insurance companies, no? Ang point is, it should stay here, but we have to do something that will attract them to stay here, to invest here, to stay here. Meron tayong advantage, our language, we can speak English at masipag yung tao. But then they speak of government, magulo yung plano, and of course, the overall graft and corruption. You have to pay everyone you meet on the corridor. Para ma-approve ito, ma-approve yun, you have to bribe everyone you meet. Sa bagay na babawasan na siguro yan, I don't know. I am not on a fact-finding committee. But unless we produce, and the factories produce more and more, and unless we spend more, and we produce more, and we spend more, the economy does not go around. So what happens to the economy is it becomes the monopoly of the few. It is true they speak of overall prosperity, but that is given to the few, no? What about the rest? What about the middle class? Do we have a strong, viable middle class? Kita mo, alam mo ba, yung gagawin sa amin sa Quezon City, for example, they will require you to pay 500 pesos do sa basurang kinokolek, on top of the taxes that we pay. No, is that not the way to destroy those who do something? They are punished more. Whereas those who do, mga squatters, mga ganyan, where all this basura can come from, magbabayad ng 500 pesos a year. So the point is, unless the economy moves in that kind of way, where we produce, we manufacture, we buy, we sell, umiikot, then no wonder nawawala ang yaman dito. Nawawala. Kaya, kita nyo, they say, oh, investments are coming here. Oh, ang dami na nag-i-invest. Ang dami na. Yet, you feel it in your guts. You feel it in the guts. Nasaan yon? Especially given a population of 100 millions, o nasaan yung prosperity? The prosperity is a word bandied about. But where is it? How can we feel it? When do we feel it most? When a disaster strikes. We are reduced to the lowest common denominator. My God! Pag nakita mo yung nangyari sa Leyte, Tacloban, ano ha? At nakita yan, walang editing yan, nakita mong ganyan, then the whole world wonders, I thought this was the country na ang dami-daming prosperity, ang daming ganito, why is it this way? Lumalabas ka agad. Mother Nature has a way of showing it in the most dramatic form. ang nakikita mo lamang, Filipino nagdurusa, ganyan, sa Leyte. Of course, darating ang help. But right now, in-interview na naman kahapon, hindi pa ho namin tinatanggap yung share na kinontribute ng mga foreign companies or non-governmental organization because they were donated via the national government before it goes to the local government. Because wala siguro silang tiwala. Nagtatanong. I think this question should continue to crop up. We cannot silence them because that is how democracy must operate. The government must always be met with such criticism without being accused of being komunista ka, politika ka, ambition mo politika. Bakit ganon? When we want to search the truth, ang accusation, politika ka yan eh. Gusto magpresidente, when we want graft to be investigated, when we want rampant rapacity and greed and corruption ang pagnanakaw investigated. Why is it asserted at once? Kasi gusto niya magpresidente. Kasi magraranya sa 2016. Where is the truth? Why cannot the truth come out? Why cannot the truth, why does it not shine like the sun? Why is it people accused do not answer their accusations? Ang sasabihin, alam mo, pinupolitika lang ako niyan. Alam mo, kasi may pangarap siyang ganon. What about the accusation? They have to be answered. There is a saying in law, silence is acquiescence. If you are silent about it, you agree to what they say about you. You have to answer point for point. It is not an answer to say, hindi ka naman tumulong. May ambition ka. Siguro may ambition ngayon, but the charges have to be met. Ginagawa na rin ngayon. Tayo ang society na masyado tayong, in a way, mabait. It is a smiling republic that we do not show contempt. We don't have a sense of indignation. Kung yung nangyayari sa ibang bansa, an indignation will take place. Dito hindi. Ay, politika yan. Patatawanin ka na lamang. Komika. In other words, happy days are here again. Pero hindi ganon. A government does not proceed that way. Ang kakampi ng government must be the truth. Corruption must be exposed. Jose Rizal said that. In the No Limit Tangere, sabi niya, there is a cancer that eats at the body entrails, and I have to destroy that cancer if I have to cure the remedy. There is a social cancer that eats the body politic, and unless we address it in the most honest term, answerable only to the truth, though the heavens will fall. Tama si Lucio Tan. When Lucio Tan said some years ago, there is no future in this country for the next 100 years. Yun ang sinabi niya. Of course, he was exaggerating. I do not agree. The future is with us. Nasa atin. We are the government. We have to demand it. In the law of supply and demand, we demand it. We insist on it because we are entitled to it. Because it is our duty to say it. I'm sorry I become so emotional about when I compare this country with the rest of the countries that I see a huge gap. Of course, may corruption din sa Amerika, ang laki. May corruption din sa Hapon. May corruption din sa may corruption sa Europe. But they go to jail. That's the big difference.
Thank you for that, Professor Lapuz. Again, before we conclude, and I guess we have no more time to ask any further question. If you are interested, of course, you could contact Professor Lapuz. Yes, I think that's the vision of the commissioner, right? The first question, the vision.
Sinabi ko na sa speech ko, land of the morning, child of the sun returning.
Yes.
Gusto ko yan eh. Nasa national anthem na yan. Filipinas para los Filipinos. Yung ganon, no? Ang Pilipinas ay para sa mga Filipino. I suggested. Pero alam mo, yung barangay namin, maliit lang. Hindi siguro kailangan ng ganyang vision. I think IFN, baka naman we are meant for a higher position than just kagawad, no? Iniisip ko
Again,
kasi kagawad.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jose David Lapuz. Before we conclude today's ceremony, we will have a message of solidarity from the National Treasurer of the Philippine Councilor League, Councilor Ms. Maybelline de la Cruz Fernandez.
Hello, magandang hapon. Kanina niyo po ako kasama, kaya lang nandun ako sa likod. And Professor Lapuz, thank you so much po for being here. Talagang lahat engaged nung kayo po yung nagsasalita. Hanggang dun sa likod, walang tigil yung tao na pumapasok just to listen to your talk, sir. Thank you so much. Also, we would like to greet our very good professors of the University of Makati. Our dean is just right outside, si Dean Tapia. Sa ating pong lahat ng mga councilors, vice mayors. May mayors po ba ngayon tayo? Soon to be mayors and appointed government officials. Magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat. I won't take much of your time. I would just like to report to each and every one of you that we have been going around the country as your National Secretary General. We've been going around the country promoting this program of the PCL, itong ating ladderized program para sa ating mga konsehal, at ganoon din sa iba't iba pang mga government officials. Natutuwa po tayo na pati po yung mga kapatid natin sa Mindanao mag-e-enroll na. And earlier I was speaking with Dean Tapia about this. Nagpapasalamat tayo sa University of Makati dahil nung unang umpisahan po itong programang ito, sila po ang institusyon, sila po ang university na talagang naniwala doon sa program at binuo, pinolish itong programa na meron ngayon tayo sa PCL. Kaya palakpakan natin ang University of Makati dahil kung wala po yung sipag, tiwala at dedikasyon nila, ganun din yung kagustuhan nila na makatulong sa ating mga konsehal na nagbibigay serbisyo sa taong bayan. Malamang wala ho tayong ganitong programa, hindi tayo magkakasama po ngayon dito sa University of Makati. So once again, Dean, thank you so much for being a great partner for this program of the PCL. Just a quick story. Yesterday, may date ba kayo yesterday? Maaga na dismiss. Anyway, yesterday, we arrived from Cebu. Pagdating ko ng bahay, I saw a gift at home. So nakarap siya. Kala ko galing sa asawa ko. Pagtingin ko ng card, sabi lang doon, continue unwrapping yourself. Love. Daddy. My dad is always like that. Sa aming magkakapatid. I'm the only girl in the family. I have 2 younger brothers. But we always get gifts from our parents every occasion. And every time when we were kids, basta may gifts yan, he would tell us, ang mga regalo, pag tinignan nyo yan, iba't iba ang pagkakarap. Para ring mga tao, iba't iba yung itsura natin. We come in different shapes and sizes. May maputi, may kayumanggi. Ganon din ang regalo. Yung iba may ribbon, yung iba wala. Yung iba pagkabalot, dyaryo lang. But it doesn't matter kung ano yung pagkabalot. What matters is what's inside of us. That's why, listening at the back earlier, I was talagang tuwang-tuwa ako because our very good speaker was telling us about moral compass. Yun yung parating sinasabi po ng daddy ko sa akin. It doesn't matter kung ano yung panglabas na kanyuan. Ang mahalaga ko ang nasa loob. And just like gifts, just like presents, we are all like little gifts of God to the world. And the only way that we can unwrap ourselves is if we do something good to other people. If we know how to reach out, kung alam natin paano tumulong to truly make a difference in this world. Lahat po tayo dito, we are all given the opportunity to serve. sana gamitin natin yung pagkakataon na yon para talagang makatouch tayo ng mga buhay ng tao. Ngayon, nandito tayo sa University of Makati, ang PCLA, Philippine Counselors League, nandito, tinutulungan po kayo para lalong mapalawak ang inyong kaalaman. Para sa ganon, pagdating ninyo sa inyong mga LGUs, mas marami kayong matulungan sa mga legislations na gagawin ninyo. Hindi yung mga walang kakwenta-kwentang legislations lang, kundi yung mga legislations na totoong makakapagpaganda ng takbo ng buhay ng bawat pamilya sa bawat lugar ninyo. We are grateful for professors like Professor Lapuz na nandito, sinishare yung kanilang experiences, yung kanilang knowledge sa atin para lalo nating mapaganda yung pagpapatakbo sa ating mga lugar. Tayo po yung humaharap sa bawat tao sa ating mga lugar. Kahit appointive officials tayo sa government, mapa-elective man, pag may nangailangan sa barangay, may nangailangan sa ating mga LGUs, tayo yung nakaharap sa kanila. Sana lahat ng matututunan natin dito sa University of Makati, dito sa napakagandang programang ito ng PCL Legislative Academy, sana gamitin po natin to change the lives of people na nakakasama po natin. Muli, maraming salamat. Congratulations to each and every one of you for taking this step. And makakaasa po kayo dito sa PCL, ginagawa natin ang lahat para maipaabot natin sa baba hanggang doon sa kaduluduluhan ng Mindanao, hanggang doon sa Apari, nakakarating tayo para ibaba yung programa na ito sa ating mga kasamahang konsihal, ganun din sa mga vice mayors and mga appointive officials natin. Also, just a quick story. Nung nasa nasa Holo, Sulu, 3 days ago, a lot of people were telling us, bakit kayo pupunta ng Holo? Napakagulo doon, sabi sa amin. Hindi nyo na kailangang pumunta doon para sabihin lamang yung PCLLA program. Magbigay na lang kayo ng communications, okay na. But you know what? We're very grateful that we went there. I am from Luzon. I come from Dagupan City. I'm so very grateful that I was able to see Holo. Sabi nila, that's the place where only the brave go. Kasi nandun daw ang Abu Sayyaf. Tapos ngayon, yung Bangsamoro, pumapasok na ang MILF sa kanila. So medyo may transition ngayon sa Sulu. So magulo daw. But when I went there, I saw how warm the people there are. Sobrang babait nila. Malayo ka pa lang, nakangiti na sila sa'yo. At yun yung gusto nating mangyari dito sa ating bansa. Regardless kung saan tayo galing, kung anong kultura meron tayo, iba-iba ang culture sa Pilipinas. Napaka-diverse natin, di po ba? Pero kailangan lang magkaroon tayo ng common understanding. Ako, taga Luzon. Alam nila agad sa kulay ko pa lang na hindi ako taga roon sa kanila. But yet, they made me feel at home. Tayo mga konsehal, we have programs here in PCL. Quarterly, we have events. Umiikot tayo sa buong Pilipinas. Please take advantage of that. Pag nagkaroon kayo ng communications, dadalhin kayo sa Visayas o Mindanao, do not be afraid. Tama na yung naririnig natin sa TV, sa news o sa dyaryo. Sometimes, we have to go there to understand kung ano talaga ang meron sa isang lugar. We fell in love in Sulu. We fell in love in Mindanao. And I'm sure if you give that a chance, kayo din mismo may in love doon sa mga lugar na ito. And I always believe, kahit na ano pang kaguluhan ang naririnig natin sa labas, for as long as there are people like you who are trying their best to change the way things are going here in our country, people like you na ginagawa, kayo coming from different parts of the Philippines po kayo, di ba? And yet you're all here, binibigyan ninyo ng oras para makatulong kayo sa inyong kapwa, mapalawag pa ang inyong kaalaman. Hanggang may mga tao na katulad po natin na ganyan, then there is hope in our country. Muli, maraming salamat. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang University of Makati. Mabuhay ang lahat ng konsehal sa buong Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang PCL. Magandang hapon po.
Before we proceed to the closing remarks, may I call on the Secretariat to proceed with the awarding of the plaque of certification. May I call on Dean Tapia to read the citation of the certificate. The certificate reads as, the University of Makati, College of Governance and Public Policy, with the Pimentel Center for Local Governance, award the Certificate of Appreciation to Professor Jose David Lapuz, former UNESCO Commissioner, for his unselfish contribution in the academic community, for presenting his generous ideas and expertise on the art and process of public governmental affairs towards a governmental leadership that creates a vision, elucidates that vision, and resolutely accomplishes this vision. Given this 15th of February, room 1012, HPSB, University of Makati, signed by Dean Ederson Tapia and Dr. Dalisay Browner, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Again, another warm round of applause for our speaker, Professor David Lapuz. Later with a good professor, we will provide the opportunity for you to do so. I know we are all eager, but could at least have your last 5 minutes of attention so we could formally conclude our activity. The last portion of our activity will be a closing remark to be provided to us by the OIC Chair of the Department of Public Administration, College of Governance and Public Policy of the University of Makati, Professor Pompeo Adamos II. Professor?
Good afternoon. The college would like to congratulate Professor Lapuz for a successful seminar presentation. Our sincerest gratitude, speaker, for enriching our knowledge on public administration, leadership, and governance. Indeed, the Philippine government must identify a vision for the country. We hope that this vision would emerge from the attendees of this seminar session. Everyone is encouraged towards a governmental leadership that creates a vision, elucidates the vision, and resolutely accomplishes the vision. In conclusion, the College of Governance and Public Policy extends its word of thanks to all our guests, our officials, faculty members, the students of DDMG, MDMG, PCLA, MPA, regular and modular programs, the executive program, the undergrad, and other participants, and most especially Commissioner Professor Jose David Lapuz. So thank you and good day.
I'm sure because you've seen a rock star, you want to have your pictures taken with him. So, but we will oblige, Professor, if it's okay with you. Okay, it's his pleasure. So, 5 minutes lang, ha? But because our lunch is getting cold, so 5 minutes.
Again, thank you everyone and good afternoon. By group muna daw, by class.
알랑가 몰라 왜 화끈해야 하는 건지 알랑가 몰라 왜
My paper requirements, by the way, for my class last Wednesday, please submit your papers through the CGPP office. Thank you and good afternoon.
멋쟁이 마리아 너가 듣고픈 말 하고픈 게 난데 마리아 Damn girl, you're so freaking sexy I'm a motherfucker gentleman gentleman. 알랑가 몰라 왜 미끈해야 하는 건지 알랑가 몰라 왜 새끈해야 하는 건지 알랑가 몰라 빨리 와서 난리네 알랑가 몰라 난리 나서 빨리 해 있잖아 마리아 너의 머리 허리 다리 종아리 마리아 Good feeling good 부드럽게 마리아 아주 그냥 헉소리 나게 마리아 Damn girl I'm a party mafia I'm a motherfucker gentleman motherfucker gentleman motherfucker gentleman gonna make you sweat gonna make you wet you know who I am wet side gonna make you sweat gonna make you wet you know who I am wet side wet side I'm a motherfucker gentleman